Gang, what's going down, everybody? This is another episode of H.I.G.H TV interviews. Let me break that down, too, because we've actually started to expand on that. So H.I.G.H TV is going to be kind of more or less a network, and this is going to be part of it. And today we got another special guest in by the name of Rob4Real. I almost said Rob4Real, but it's Rob4Real. And I actually just recently met you, man, actually from another interview. We have a mutual friend, Krista Jones, and I got to kind of catch your vibe and see, a little bit of who you were and what you were about during that interview. So I definitely wanted to get you back in and kind of get your story. So how you doing today?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Running late besides the, all the construction and everything.
It worked out for me because I'm always late everywhere, so we're good.
Well, that's good. But let's jump into this, man. So for anybody who doesn't know who Rob4Real is, he's actually a Colorado native, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're a Colorado native, like your boy. There's not too many of us left here, actually. Nope. But he's actually a musician who I feel found his path in the cannabis industry. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's his passion, because after speaking to him, in preparation for this interview, I got to learn a lot. Like, music is definitely, where your heart's at. It's your passion.
Definitely.
And cannabis is kind of just something that fell into place for you and made sense to your life, more or less.
It works.
Yeah. All right. Yep. Well, let's start from the beginning, because like I said, music is where it all kind of begins, I feel like, and where we're going to have the most to learn about you. So how did that all come about? When did music become a thing for you? What influenced you? Let us know a little bit about that.
Right from the jump, honestly, man. My grandfather, he just passed away actually this February.
My condolences.
Appreciate you. He was really into music. Always had, a piano, keyboards, guitars, whatnot when I was younger, and for whatever reason, since I can remember, I've always loved music, just
gravitated to it.
Putting headphones on, watching MTV, checking out, my mom's catalog, my grandpa's catalog, that kind of thing.
Back in the day when they had the CD books.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, the flip books. I remember my mom had like 2 or 3 of those in the whip, and just had to sit
they
there
would just
flip.
buy me Discman all the time, and I was just, all right, this is the CD I'm going to digest today or this week, or what I mean? And then just playing around with his piano they had in this back room, he noticed I was interested and started, getting me guitars and whatnot. So I kind of messed around in high school. Nothing like serious, just playing guitar and kind of writing a little bit, poetry and what I thought were songs.
Yeah.
When I got out, I had a buddy who was rapping and making beats with some other people, and so I kind of got down with them and their little crew producing at first. Okay. And then
well, that's dope. We didn't talk about that. That's cool. Keep going.
So messing around with that, and then it just transitioned into rapping, and yeah, man. I guess it really got serious when I was probably like 25 or so. I met some cats in the local scene, Jeremy Pape, Turner Jackson, Dills Makes Beats. We all kind of connected. That we had a crew way back called Welcome to the Dope Game. And then, that fizzled out, had some bands, did my solo stuff, and yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, yeah, word. So you kind of gave us a nice little overview. We're going to kind of now go in, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and we're going to kind of break down and get into some specific things. So it seems like, when did you actually make like the first song? When did you realize you made it? Because you said just a minute ago, you made a lot of what you thought were songs, which you later realized were just poems.
Yeah.
That were really probably well written, but weren't necessarily songs. So when do you say, how old were you when you actually wrote your first song and you knew it was like, oh, this is different?
Well, I had got on so for the longest time, I've always understood like music. I can't read music or write it, but I can, like, for example, for guitar, piano, I can play things and I can teach myself if it's not too complex of a, chord progression with guitars. But I didn't know how to count bars at first. I didn't understand the concept, and it was like super confusing.
It's actually hard. That, you know what, like, don't even feel bad. Like, I write music too, And that was one of my biggest misconceptions.
Didn't understand it. I couldn't comprehend it. And one day my mom's boyfriend taught me. He knew I was trying to become a rapper. I had taken him to the studio that I was fucking around with when I was just producing. So he kind of showed me and broke it down like you already know how to count bars when you're playing guitar or when you were making beats. You're counting bars when you're structuring them. Right. And once he kind of like broke that down, it was like being in school, like when they show you the times table or something. Yep. And then I was like, oh, fuck. And then when I listened to music, whether it was rap, pop, rock, whatever, you would hear like, all right, this is the hook, this is a verse, this is a bridge, this is an outro. Like, and then from there, it was just, all right, I knew the structure of a song. And it was kind of, and then once you know, too, you don't really give a fuck, especially in rap. And as, you know, we got into these new alternative genres of rap, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could just rap the whole thing and do a bridge and then the song's over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could do a hook, a verse, and then the song's over. Yep. Like, so.
And that's the cool thing about it, too, is like now that rap or hip-hop in general is so unorthodox and you kind of can do your own thing, it allows for all these different subgenres, I feel like, of hip-hop to thrive. And to kind of further elaborate on what you were kind of just saying earlier, I'm sure as you started to figure out the hooks and the verses and all that stuff too, you probably even started to be able to count, whether it was a 2-bar pattern, 4-bar pattern, and all that stuff too. With the schemes.
Right when like I said, right when he broke it down to me, hey, you already know. Yeah, I knew it, and it was like I could see it. And
I believe
you approach the song a different way, you know, or songwriting from that point.
Yeah, I really believe that, and you know, kudos to you said your stepdad, right?
His my mom's boyfriend. Mom's boyfriend. Yeah.
So kudos to him because I know how important it is to have, you know, just that one person, you know, take that 10 minutes, you know what I'm saying, to just literally explain something a little bit further for you to get it. Because I had that was the same exact thing for me, as it took one person to be like, hey, let me just
break it down.
This is what it is. Boom, 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 boom. And literally after that, it was like, oh my God, game changer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's cool, man. So how old were, not how old, what was the experience like? Because I know you had talked about going on some tours and doing some small stuff and opening up for hot local artists in, you know, different regions and stuff like that. What was that experience like, man?
It was cool. So actually the tours that's what they were. I had a manager at the time that I was signed to, and I was signed to like with a little collective they're called the Fly District, who I still fuck with like pretty heavily. Right. Supreme Ace kind of runs all that. He reached out to me a few years ago and was like, yo, I got a manager, I got a squad, I think you'd be a good fit. And, you know, that was right after Dope Game had fizzled out. So I hopped on that, and they basically, Ace has a big Twitter following and a big IG following. He was verified on Twitter, like one of the first Colorado artists. He's not Colorado based anymore, but he kind of used his platform and whatnot. Right. And we booked a little tour, you know, did a little Arizona circuit, obviously Colorado, Utah, hit Nevada.
A little West Coast circuit pretty much.
Yeah. And then I did a little Florida circuit, like 4 or 5 shows way before even Dope. I've been with so many cliques, man.
Hey, but you know what? That's dope. That's where that experience comes from.
Yeah, you meet different people. I mean, I definitely appreciate it because I met totally different people and, you know, different situations with those different cliques. But that's kind of the extent. And then I've done hella shows in Colorado, all over Colorado. I've done South by Southwest. I was an official artist in
that's dope.
2019.
Hell yeah.
So yeah,
that's cool because there's a lot of artists that wish they could say that.
Yeah, that's why I got to push it out there.
Yeah,
I used to have it in my IG bio forever.
Yeah, see, I had to congratulate you on that because I know there's a lot of artists that be like, oh, I wish I could get on South by Southwest. That's dope. So I want to still keep it. Let's go back to the past in the beginning. Blah 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 blah. See, that's that stoner stuff. Back to the beginning. When you first started recording, man, was it the home studio? Did you just take it serious off the bat and have like a situation where you could go and record with some friends, or a studio and a producer situation? I know you said you kind of started off as the producer, but you know, how did that all kind of play out for you in the beginning, like with the equipment and, you know, getting going?
So the beginning, like I said, I kind of was producing and hanging out with this, you know, crew of people who were rapping and whatnot. The kid was from a very affluent, rich family. So he had like this whole downstairs finished basement set up that was like an apartment with like top of the line gear. And he, you know, I don't really know how he knew how to work all that shit, because like now you can learn everything just like a YouTube tutorial, you know. But he knew how to work all of it. You know, we had a Korg 16-track recorder, which was pretty big back in like, this was like 2007 or some shit, you know, before like Pro Tools and like digital recording really took off. It was
basically
more
like
analog.
It was just kind of like,
and then you would kind of port shit in and then edit it later in like Pro Tools, but you didn't used to just like record straight into it.
So you started back when it was like for real. You had to really do some work.
So we had good equipment. He taught me all that. And like the way it was set up like a professional studio. Like his parents paid the money to have
that's fire.
Any of these run, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I messed with him for a while, and then they ended up moving and downsizing and whatnot. And he gave me a bunch of gear. Gave me a Korg, the 16-track, and some other shit, an MPC, an MPD, and I kind of just did a lot of home recording type shit. Yeah. And then when I linked up with Dope Game, they were definitely on like a more serious, like professional route. You know, we were really trying to pop shit off, and they connect me with a lot of actual studios. And I would say like 2016, I linked up with Conway Sound and a particular engineer named Rocky.
Okay.
And then all my projects that are available now are either engineered by him or by Tripper Jones, and it was all pretty much done at Conway Sound. So.
Okay, dope. So you've pretty much had like a professional sound kind of push since the beginning then.
Yeah, everything that wasn't, I scrubbed the internet of all my old videos and old projects, so it's everything that's out is like,
like but it seems like even the older stuff that may not have been at the caliber that it is now, you know, it still was probably above, you know, expectation of the level that you were, you know, probably expected to put out at that time, you know, just because of the equipment and, you know, the people around that were willing to, you know, go learn some things and, you know, give that blessing to you. Yeah. So that's dope, man. So as far as funding this stuff, like you obviously said a lot of this was, you know, kind of given to you or, you know, like I said, just kind of blessed to you as far as being able to work with people and their equipment. But when that kind of went away, obviously the need to fund it yourself kind of came about. And you're getting older, so the need for the kicks and, you know, you're looking fresh right now. So, you know, obviously the need for things and the want for things started to happen at that point. How did you fund this at that time?
So before I got into the cannabis industry, I was basically working like, you know, the back of the house type jobs that people with tattoos and piercings and
I feel
not great work ethic. You know what I'm saying?
I understand all too well.
So I did a lot of cooking jobs. I worked at a hotel for a minute. And they bounced me around literally like every department and position just because they fucked with me and I was a charmer, but I wasn't the best worker.
Right, and you didn't have that appeal for the front of the house, as they would say.
And I mean, you know,
a
hotel is a customer service, like 100%. So
they
tried to make me wear like
it's customer service friendly.
No,
it's
so
a nice way of putting it. I
fell into Tokyo Joe's and a little bit of trapping, especially when shit legalized for no big drug trapping, just weed. But
yeah, I got you.
When things legalized,
he's like, I had to do my thing.
It made things way easier. And then especially when it went rec, I mean, you had for a minute there was a good 2-3 years where you had like a constant plug, and you know, I don't want to dry snitch on myself, but packs can go other places, and it was a lucrative time. So I was kind of cooling and just doing that and trying to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, big facts. I understand. You know, things. You know, we're gonna move on. But anyways, so as far as that whole situation, I know you had mentioned a few times that you and the bands and groups of people kind of fell apart through your music career and like that whole situation. And it obviously seemed that the solo route was kind of more your thing anyway. just talking to you, and even now, like you seem to like be more of a efficient worker being solo.
Yeah.
And maybe just having a team behind you, right?
Mm-hmm. Or a support system.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like having that support system, it seems to be the best way for you. So how do you feel like the transition between going from groups to solo might have affected your career overall? Like, do you think you'd be further had you just stuck to your guns and just did it yourself?
Kind of, yeah. I think I wasted some time and invested in
the wrong people and situations.
Not the wrong people. So there's two bands that I really kind of think were, that we had a good thing going. We won't like dive into any of that, but both bands, they were all good people. In fact, the drummer from both bands, he's been rocking with me for pretty much like the beginning of when I was somebody in Denver. He's a rapper too, but his name's ABCD Jones. But and actually the DJ was in both bands too.
Okay.
Sex Peterson. He goes by
I like that's a cool name right
he
there.
changed it. It's
why?
I think it's Michael J now, yeah.
Oh man. Michael
and it was
J.
Sex, like seconds, like not
go
sex. Yeah.
see, that's fire. You need to go back to that name, sir. I'm just saying.
So it was good people's, and even the last band, the guitarist was like one of my best friends. But being in a group, whether it's making music or running a business or anything, I mean, that shit's difficult. Tough. And when you start putting into music, luckily we never had any issues about like egos or anything. They always, gave me like creative control, with still having their inputs and whatnot. But you start getting older and people have relationships and jobs, and
right.
We're making not even okay money sometimes off these shows and splitting it 4 ways, to the point where I'm just like, hey, you guys take the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of time and a lot of effort where I could have just been focusing on me, and nothing to them. Like I said, they're all great people, but it's hard because we're all doing shit. We all have things going on. So like rehearsals were hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Practices, there was always a situation or all 3 of us would be available, somebody wouldn't, type shit. So
right.
But ultimately, not to throw my boy under the bus, but the guitarist was in the process of moving, a new position in his work, getting married and whatnot. Life. So he stepped back from the band last summer, and we did a couple shows without him. And I just kind of decided to step away from it as well. Like
probably just didn't feel right. It wasn't the same. I understand.
Yeah. So
and especially when it wasn't like because of like ill will, that just seemed like life. That exactly. I don't feel like you threw him under the bus there, because that's just real life. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like when we were talking, you kind of made some points too, where we're gonna actually kind of transition into the cannabis industry now, and where this kind of makes sense. I feel like where you tie into this whole 420 themed podcast and situation.
Yeah.
And you could tell that as you got older, the need, especially since you said you started to kind of take music serious late, at 25, like a lot of artists have already either made their mark or decided to move on. So for you to try to, pursue it on a serious level at that point in your life, I feel like was kind of almost like that quarter life crisis, which I like to call it.
And I didn't even start popping, honestly, till like 30.
See,
like real shit. I got verified at like 31. So like I'm like the old head, like 2 Chainz. If I were to ever really pop off, you know what I'm saying?
I was going towards that comparison. Like unless you're really gonna dedicate and push like a 2 Chainz situation, you had to start figuring out what was the next steps so that you could survive and still ultimately achieve whatever end goal for your life that you were trying to accomplish, right? And that's where I feel like the cannabis industry kind of fell in. And I feel like that's where you kind of said, all right, I had this opportunity. I decided to take it. And it worked out so far. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about that. So when you got into the industry, how did that opportunity kind of present itself to you? And was it always Silverstein that, was the opportunity or the thing?
Yeah, so I think medical went legal in like like 99 or some weird shit. But it didn't actually like pop up in dispensaries and shit till like 2008, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So right around then, you know, I was like interested. 2009, my mom paid for the medical card for my birthday.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Because it was like expensive.
Yeah,
and I was
in the
broke too back then. But she's like, hey, I got a good idea for your birthday. And it was like I want to say, it wasn't a big birthday. It wasn't my 21st. But anyways, my mom got the card, and that was like my first like step in. And from there, I was like, yo, I need to be working at one of these places. Like, This is me. You know what I'm saying? Fuck cooking. Like, I like cooking, but this is me.
Yeah, more your lifestyle.
And then one of my childhood best friends ended up landing a job just on like some random stuff, and I kept bugging him, and it was he's Russian, like from Russia, and it was a Russian company, which I don't know if you know, but the Russians have a very big stake in the Colorado. I don't know if it's like that in other states, but they're
here.
Yeah, they're
between them.
They're great businessmen, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say between them and people from Israel.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Bro, they're here, and they are here in force. But it's because, like you just said, they're great businessmen,
and they saw an opportunity.
They saw the opportunity. Yeah. Exactly.
So I was, you know, begging him like, "Yo, put me on," and I think he was kind of reluctant because, like, we've always been best friends, but just the cultural differences. Like, when I'd go to his house, like his family would like, you know, we would be young. I remember an incident about it was disrespectful to have my hair dyed and have my ears pierced. What? Yeah, or something. Yeah. And I was like 13 or some shit, or I don't know. But so I think he was kind of reluctant to like even put me on, because he got on with them like through his family or through his dad doing some construction or something for him. But one day he was like working. He worked with them part-time too. He already had like a legit ass job. He just was doing extra money because it was cool. Yeah. But one day a dude didn't show up to work, and he's like, hey, I got a buddy. He's perfect, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, send him in for an interview. So I went in for the interview. She fucked with me and hired me. And then I just been with them ever since.
That's dope.
Back then they were called Canamart.
I remember that. That was the transition. You just taught me something, because I remember Canamart, and I didn't realize that it was Silverstein revamped.
Yeah,
so I didn't know that.
I don't know everything behind it, because I haven't really been like privy or like even you know, totally invested until, you know, the past year and a half, 2 years. But I think they had like some investors or maybe some consulting, but I know that like the head grower ended up becoming like an owner and whatnot, and it was just like a rebranding.
That's cool.
It is dope. I like Silverstein. I like the logo. I think Canamart was very dope for the recreational side, and they changed like right before Rec 2, so you know,
it could have went either way, but the Silverstein situation has thrived ever since.
It's a top-notch. It's a cool top-notch branding. I'm a little biased just because. So like, I have the old Canamart logo tatted. Just
look at you!
Fucked with it,
yeah, look at you! You totally invested.
Yeah,
that's cool. Because I've actually done. I've worked with Silverstein a few times. Actually, I've did, and that's actually where we actually realized we had encountered each other once in just passing, pretty much. But I did a bunch of like video tours for a bunch of your guys' stores.
Yeah, and so you came to the one that I run, but I wasn't there that day.
That's what it was.
So then when we were sitting here, we were sitting here, and then I clicked like a couple minutes. That's when I said something. I was like, oh, hey.
That's what it was. Yeah, and I did a tour of every store that they had. You guys have in Colorado, except for maybe one. I think there might be one. You have a Colfax store, right?
So
or one close to.
So we got a good amount. We have Northfield, which you came to.
Yeah, I came to that one.
We got Quincy. I think you went to.
I went to that one.
Sheridan. I think you went to Sheridan. Colfax.
I think that's the only one I didn't do.
And then we have a med only that'll be rec in the next couple months.
And I went to that
Littleton.
one. Yep, I went to that one.
Which is where I started. That's where I was at for years, just kind of doing my thing.
Yeah.
And then we have two mountain stores, Fraser and
I went
Netherlands.
to those. I went to both of those.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I did both of those. So it's only the Colfax store.
Those are the cool ones.
Yeah, the Netherlands and the Fraser one is dope. Yeah. So like, if you ever come to Colorado and you check out Silverstein, I encourage you to check those stores out just because of the cool scenery that you get to see on the way there.
They're all cool. Don't
And,
get me wrong.
for sure. But you get a really cool Colorado
mountains,
experience. You know what I'm saying? Out of going to those.
And
stores.
Netherlands is so close to Denver too. Like,
Facts.
that's a great trip.
Like 45 minutes. I want to say it was. Yeah, not a bad drive at all. And like I said, you get to kind of see a different side of Colorado from like going from the city and the hustle and bustle to really small town, just mountain scenery. You know, small time vibes. You know what I'm saying? But, so when you first got into Silverstein, obviously started off as a bud tender, like most of us do, doing, you know, some sort of low-level position until we gain some experience. Where are you at now?
So now I'm the store manager of Northfield, which is, we want it to be our flagship store, like our, you know, main location. But like business and volume, it's definitely Quincy right now. For sure. They're killing it. But Northfield is the one that we're really pushing to be our big store. We got the mural. It's a huge location.
It's a cool store.
We even moved our pre-pack facility there too as well. So I run that store, and then I'm also product and purchasing manager. So basically, I do like the onboarding of new products, new vendors.
Right, like a product development and everything.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Kind of research things that I think we might need or what we're lacking, and then, you know, approve, you know, other managers' requests to bring on a new product or a vendor. Then like a little bit of like allocation work and whatnot with our operations manager. So he used to handle like pretty much all of that, and then the last year and a half, he's been, you know, diving off more stuff to me, more stuff. Yeah,
basically prepping you. Looks like you're going up
to move to it. Yeah, I'm trying to get out of management.
You're going
for
up.
Sure,
for sure. No, that's cool, man. And that's the best way to do it is to, you know, just continue to absorb and learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because I know from my experience in the industry, that those are the reasons why that I was able to get to general manager, you know, positions and, you know, managing people and, you know, being in charge to make decisions very similar to the ones that you're making. And it only helped me in the long run. You know what I'm saying? Like, it helped me with my own clothing brand that I, you know, have, and helped me to find myself in opportunities with other companies that I might have never, thought.
Straight up, bro. The company itself, you know, it's taught me a lot, but this individual, the operations manager, he's taught me so much, like infinite amounts, about not necessarily even really the industry, just about being like a professional and, you know, this scope of what I've been doing with, you know, the product and purchasing and, you know, if I were to even go to another industry, you know, he's taught me things that are, you know, valuable and lucrative that I can apply other places that I would have never have learned anywhere else, which is pretty cool. So
that's cool.
Shout out to him, Matthew Christian.
Shout out to you, Matthew. But one question too before we continue into your career in cannabis, like when you made that choice to kind of take the cannabis industry serious, how did that kind of affect the musician in you?
So sorry.
It's all good.
That's why I didn't hit that.
You're good.
So I've been I've been in the industry since 2009, like November of 2009.
As long as me.
So like pretty much the beginning, you know, rec shit popped off like early 2008. So like stuff was really climbing like 2009. So that's when, you know, I consider 2008, 2009 like when it really popped off, medical. So I've been with them since they used to own other ones under different names. I would work at those. But up until like 2017, I was like really focused on music, having my time. Mm-hmm. I turned down a lot of like promotions and opportunities, and just kind of, you know, bud tended. There was a period of time there where I would just call in and be like, hey, can I work today? Call the current manager just because I needed money on the paycheck. You know, I was doing other things, had other income, but I wanted to keep that relationship. There was times where I did some dumb shit, and multiple times. One time I went to jail, didn't show up for a shift. crazy stuff happened multiple times, and the owners, you know, were really cool. Let me keep my job.
That's cool.
So, you know, I didn't take it serious for a long time. It was just a job, like straight up. They offer, and then, you know, as the years got and I got older, I got more serious, and eventually, right around the time when they did the Cannabis Silverstein rebranding, they offered again. They're like, you know, they promoted a chick to a manager, and they're like, well, we need an assistant. And she said she wanted it to be me. I ended up taking it, and then from there, I kind of took stuff more serious.
Right, it clicked.
Yeah, kind of focused more of like a career. But I still, even when I took over the Littleton spot and I was the manager there, I turned down a lot of like opportunities to open a new store, or because when I started, it was just 3 locations, and then at one point it was just 2. And as we opened new ones, they were like, "Hey, we want you to," and I turned them down, just because of the music and whatnot. And then 2019 of like September or so, they were like, "Hey, we're opening this new one in Commerce City. It's going to be our flagship store, blah, blah, blah. Corporate location will be there too. So, you know, I'll be more with, you know, the corporate, you know, the operations manager, the
people you wanted to learn from.
The owners, everything. So I went and checked the location out, and it was a big ass location. It was cool. And I was like, all right, cool. I took the job, and then the product managing and everything started developing more. I had already been doing a little bit when I was at Littleton, but once I moved to the Northfield location and corporate was there, and I was dealing with the operations manager, you know, almost a day-to-day basis, it increased, and then it just kind of fell into that role. So for the longest time, I wasn't taking shit serious at all.
So that's what I was trying to basically get at too, right there. Is life happened to you too?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I got older, man. Yeah, I'll be 34 next month.
Yeah, life happened, man. Like that's what it sounded like, and that's kind of why I asked that question, because you know it made you go into a real reason for why. You know what I'm saying? And break down the exact steps for how that transition happened, because it wasn't just overnight where it just clicked.
No.
You know, it was definitely a multitude of opportunities being presented, turned down, accepted, and, you know, these different life experiences happening to you, like going to jail, for instance, like that probably wasn't too happy. You know, it made you think is really what I'm trying to say. Like, no one wants to sit in jail, but when you do, you're forced to kind of look at things differently. And, you know, you probably made some decisions there that you don't realize were pivotal moments for why you are in the position you are now. You know, the situations of not making enough money off of shows, you know, are some of those moments where you had, all right, I got to stop doing this. Like,
you kind of not pick your battles, but you weigh weigh your options.
Weigh your options, yeah. Life happens, man. So, and that's what I was getting at too, because like I know earlier we were talking about the guitarist and life happening and him having to step away. And it was, you know, probably hard for him to do that, but it had to happen, you know what I'm saying, for him to ultimately move forward with his life to be the most successful person that he can be.
And now he's managing his own store in Silverstein. He's married, got a nice little crib.
Bro, see what I'm saying? And now
so you got to make these choices.
Yeah, and look at you too now. Like, you're in a position that you probably never thought you'd be in 10 years ago.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when this first started, like, it was, like you said, just a job. But now it's turned into way more because it fits your lifestyle, made sense. And ultimately, that's a cool story, and really why I wanted to bring you on, because like after talking to you, I was like, man, it's really cool to like see someone who has such a passion for something, but had a lifestyle that he lived and found a job that fit that lifestyle, and you know, it made it okay for him to walk away. Because I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that you're not always going to be able to live out that dream that you saw yourself living as a teenager or a child, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, you're an artist too, and anyone who's like really taking that artist lifestyle too. I mean, it's a struggle, and a lot of people have to like literally starve until they either give it up or they make it. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't starving, or really struggling, but you know, it was a choice. Do I want to make good money? Do I want to be happy? Because I mean, that's the thing too. The music industry, it makes you jaded as fuck. You know what I mean? And I'm that's like a local level, and you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not anybody crazy. I'm not a superstar or nothing, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But the industry is tough on any level when you're like in a serious like competing situation,
Right.
you know what I mean? So, and then couple that with like the money that you make as an artist until you really, really, really make it, when then it's crazy, which is why everybody wants to be. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people. That's why they're gravitated toward it. But there's not a lot of money in being an artist or a creative unless you like make it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. You have to definitely either find a niche and like feed that core fan base and kind of do like that ICP thing where you kind of just, you know, circuit the same crowd of people.
But see, they still made it though. In a sense,
for sure.
Because they found a niche.
They found that niche, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so like if you could find a niche and ride that wave until the wheels fall off, or like you said, you be that part of that, you know, 1%, if you will, that actually breaks through and becomes a major artist or mainstream artist. That's a tough life. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely gotten easier with all the technology and, you know, platforms and stuff that you can upload like YouTube and stuff. If you do it right, you could definitely make money and make a decent living, because I have some friends that do. But again, you have to be savvy and be willing to understand and change and learn algorithms, and that's a whole job in itself.
And you got to put the time into
the work.
I mean, there's some people who, you know, it's overnight, whatever.
Yeah,
but for the most part, it's a grind.
Yeah, nah, for sure. So, what's going on with Rob4Real in 2021, man? Do you have any big plans with Silverstein? Do you have any big plans with the music? What's going on?
So I kind of took a break a little bit. I didn't really release anything in 2020. Last thing I released a video of November 2019, and then a project March 9th, 2019. I was really taking a break. You know, it's a hiatus because I have an EP coming out.
Word.
I'm hoping February, but probably not.
Cool. What's the name of it?
So I have a album I dropped in 2018. It's my most successful album. My fans like that. It's the one. It was called Free Therapy. This one is kind of back to those roots a little bit, but it's an EP, not an album. But it's Free Therapy Volume 2. More songs about the same people.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm a big
gotta release some more off your chest.
Yeah, I'm a long title guy. Like my song titles will be like long, like some of them are a sentence, or you know what I'm saying?
Bruh. So he's like, I'm gonna put a whole bar.
This EP is a long title, but you know, Free Therapy Volume 2, more songs about the same people, because that's what it is. But like I said, I was kind of under the impression that I was like done and wanted to retire, so to speak, or like hang it up, you know.
Bug bit you.
But yeah, and then I started like writing stuff again, and then even producing a little. And so the new EP, I was kind of excited. So I'm gonna pop it out. But again, my career is like my focus right now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So where do you see yourself with Silverstein then, as far as next year and maybe even the next few years down the road? What is the ultimate goal here?
I mean, next few years down the road, we're hoping things pop off bigger federally, you know, and they start moving out to other states. We have a location in Portland. Yep. I didn't mention that one, but
I need to go tour that one too.
Me too.
We'll have to figure something out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Silverstein. Hey,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Let us know.
But honestly, I remain loyal to them for the reasons discussed earlier. But now it's kind of like, you know, I can see the potential with them and the industry. And so for me, I would like to be, you know, we were open in multiple locations all over the country, and I'll be the guy that goes and shows you what needs to be done.
You want to be that guy?
Yeah. I don't got no family or no girl or nothing, and I like staying in hotels.
I can go open stores.
Yeah.
I got you. I can do that.
So my career, honestly, with them, you know, I have some goals with the 2021 to kind of move outside of the management position on like just a direct store level.
Word.
But that kind of remains to be seen what exactly that position would be. But
kind of like a regional situation, kind of run all the stores in a certain area as far as the map goes.
That would be dope. Yeah, like a GM type thing. Also, you know, within the products, the product management and stuff, you know, that could delve into, you know, the pre-pack department. We have a new machine. It's a big sorter. I forget the name of it. I'm terrible.
It's all good.
Been
The
drinking
names got
mimosas,
some crazy
but
names and stuff.
It's a big, expensive machine. We're changing our packaging from, you know, drams to Mylar packaging with cool artwork and whatnot. Okay. You know, more industry savvy. Yeah. So
trying to take like kind of that cookies packaging approach a little bit, where it's just a little more exciting.
And no. Yes and no.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, more of the excitement factor.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Just more in line with the industry.
Yeah.
So honestly, like what my future is remains to be seen. Also, you know, Northfield, we're opening a med side too and remodeling, so that could keep me there for a little bit longer. But ultimately, it's with Silverstein and doing my music shit.
It's endless right now with Silverstein as far as the opportunity. Yeah, you're willing to ride it out, which that's dope. If you can ever find a place where you're just super content and happy, and you're willing to take that ride with them, you'll ultimately always find yourself in positions that you know either want or never thought you'd get.
Yeah,
you know
it's a good company to work for, and also to, like, you know, as far as like the brand and, you know, what they represent and whatnot, and they've been really good to me and allow me to be myself.
Like it, man. It sounds like it. How would any brands, if they wanted to reach out to, you know, get involved with Silverstein, get a hold of you first off?
Yeah, so as far as like vendors or brands, you can hit my email. I don't know if I should put it on here.
We could put it in like the description or something.
So they want to search for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you got to actually do some work to find it.
Yeah.
And then if they wanted to just hit you up on like an Instagram or a social media and, you know, maybe contact you there first, how would they do that?
For sure. I was kind of wary about it for a little bit. But I'm stepping into the influencer, putting the influencer hat.
You have to, bro. Look,
there's some money in it.
You got to put that hat on,
right?
Because it goes hand in hand with
if you have a following or big engagements and whatnot. I have decent engagements. I got verified through my management a little while ago, like a year and a half ago.
I need to still get verified.
I might be able to help you.
We got to talk.
I've seen your page. I think you got a decent engagement.
Come on, bro.
It's really, honestly, man, it's organic, about publication, and so people hit me all the time. It's engagements. It don't matter if you have 100,000 followers or 4,000. It's your engagement ratio.
It's engagement.
And then your background, your
you
portfolio, your resume. You know what I mean?
Let's get it. We got to talk. We have to talk. I got to get this.
But yeah, I'm actually putting that influencer hat on. I'm working with a couple companies right now, you know, doing the whole use my code type shit. Yep. But my Instagram is @liftedbob, like lifted, and then BOB. Super simple.
Yeah, that is. We'll leave it in, we'll put it in the description somewhere.
But yeah, companies, vendors, clothing lines, all that, hit me up. Whether it's something you want to work out with me or with Silverstein, you know, let's talk business.
Yeah, big facts. Okay, word. So that's how you get in hold of him. Whether you're a person who just wants to talk and holler at him and, you know, tell him how great he is, or you're a brand who's trying to do business. That's how you would do that. All right. So let's see, man. As far as the something I wanted to actually mention. How early did you realize that you had the stomach issue that you were talking about? I forgot the name of it. And when did you realize that cannabis was actually helping you with it?
So I have juvenile diabetes. I got it when I was like 14. So it's like it's predisposed genetically or whatever. Didn't take care of it very well. Understandably, you know, I got it at 14.
Yeah, not
started smoking weed at 14. It was high school, drinking, drugs, whatever. I had a bit of a drug problem in high school, in my early 20s. I've been to rehab and probation and whatnot, but
we'll get into that in a later interview,
right?
When we bring it back, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I about 3-4 years ago, I was experiencing like nausea in the mornings here and there, and it started getting progressively worse. Symptoms started getting worse, and Started getting into the situation where I was hospitalized, and then even up into November last year, I was hospitalized and I was in the ICU for about 5 days.
Dang, man.
So I was misdiagnosed 5 times. 3 of those times, the doctors told me I think it's called endometritis or endometritis. Basically, there's this thing where people develop like a intolerance to THC.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, people who dab heavily, blah, blah, blah. And it makes them.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So they kept telling me it was that. And I'm like, look, man, I wake up nauseous and then use marijuana and it helps me a lot of the times. There's no way. And like, well, it's a delayed effect, blah, blah, blah. Finally, met someone and they diagnosed me with gastroparesis, which makes sense because it's a disease that happens from not taking care of your diabetes. Basically, I don't digest, my stomach doesn't work right, so I have to like eat small meals and avoid a lot of things. But I was diagnosed March of 2019 officially, like right before I went to South by. And things have been better for sure now that I know what it is and what I need to do, but there's like flare-ups and whatnot. And that's why I was in the hospital last year. But like I was telling you, cannabis has been a big part of my life, obviously recreational, but, you know, medicinally here and there. But the past, you know, year and a half, 2 years, I mean, there's days where I'll wake up and, you know, if I smoke a couple hits or, you know, do a dab or even a pin, or if I can get an edible down, it's life-changing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely.
Because the nausea
changed the viewpoint of it for you.
The nausea is like, sometimes it's really mild and I can just, you know, take a little sip of like a hot tea, or, you know, there's different things at work. I have like these ginger chews and like a prescription medicine or whatever, but like more often than not it's weed, you know. You put enough weed in, smoke a joint, like it.
I'm gonna have to get you some of this high grade syrup stuff that
No, I'm a big, so
I'm gonna have to get you some.
I was gonna talk to you after this, but we're supposed to tap in together because I know you work with them and Josh.
Yep.
I brought him on and I kind of hollered at him recently because that company is dope and they should be doing way better than they are.
And the goal is next year.
Yeah. So we're supposed to tap in and kind of
stay tuned. Yeah.
He was supposed to send an email last week, Josh. This will air afterwards, but he was supposed to connect us so we could talk about it. But I fuck with High Grade, man. The culture there, it's dope because with the lean culture and the hip hop culture, like High Grade has something that most brands don't have. Like they have 2 cultures and then the marijuana culture. Like
yeah. I mean, and then we even have so much more that we're tapping into next year with like the culinary arts and, you know, even some other things as far as that.
Yeah, I've seen some events where they did some pairings and whatnot. But to speak to what you're saying, I fuck with High Grade a lot because it's coconut oil based, which is not only healthy, but it's easy on the stomach. A lot of these edibles or drinks in general are high fructose corn syrup or super high sugar. The High Grade syrups, I've only done the 100 milligrams so far. My med card's expired, so I need to get up on the thousands. But
we got the 10K getting ready to drop.
I know.
That's right. But back to you, man. I appreciate you for coming out, bro, and, you know, talking to us. There's definitely a lot of different points that I think we touched on just briefly that we can talk further into. Obviously, as far as the, you know, health aspect that you deal with cannabis, I think there's definitely way more that you could talk about as far as the experiences you've had. Now that you're more aware of it, and, you know, kind of explain how it helps and the different ways you went about finding what helps and works. Because like you just said, you just made some points where it's like, oh, it's, you know, because of this that I fuck with that, and, you know, some of these other ones I can't because of X, Y, and Z, and that was trial and error, not just you knowing that it was going to be that today, you know, or when you figured it out. So we'll have those points. Obviously, there's just a whole bunch of other stuff that we could talk about. And then we'll bring you back on, too, to just talk about current events, man. Like, as you grow with Silverstein and Silverstein grows, you know what I'm saying? We'll have to get them on, maybe do some sponsor stuff with them, too.
Yeah,
and figure some, you know, build a working relationship. You dig what I'm saying? Because I think we're going to be cool after this, you know?
Absolutely.
So, but you have anything else to say, man, before we go?
You know, obviously I was plugging my music stuff. So, follow me at Lifted Bob. I'm on every platform, Rob4Real. It's just Rob, R-O-B, the number 4, and then Real, R-E-A-L.
Right?
Yep, all one word. YouTube, and then come check out Silverstein. We're pretty much all over the state. I'm at the Northfield location. I won't be serving you up, but
but if you see him, say hi.
Or come through, drop the podcast, or name drop MileHigh, drop something, and we'll give you a discount. Take care of you.
See, there you go. Look, see, look, you just gave us some clickbait.
Right there you go.
I appreciate you, man. And just to kind of further elaborate on the YouTube part 2, I went and checked out a few of the music videos. He sent me a couple. I went and watched like 2 or 3 further after that. I gotta say, you definitely put time and effort, thought, and even budget behind your videos too, man. So I've recommended. Like, that's really
appreciate you.
I recommend going and watch him, because it's
Thank
very
you.
interesting. You know what I'm saying? And he's very unique as far as the sounds and the capability. As far as being a musician goes, you can hear the different genre influences, but as far as a very specific artist influence, I don't think there really is one. He's just a lover of music. So I, just want to encourage that, because maybe we can make him the next, 2 Chainz situation.
That's love.
And, you know what I'm saying? Get you out there,
even
at the age you are now, man.
Right.
So it's possible. I'm just saying.
Definitely.
But I love you guys. There is no me without you. Always remember, live your life high, honest, intelligent, genuine, and humble. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.